Amid the lies and deception, from The Spy and the Traitor by Ben MacIntyre. Why does anyone spy? Why give up the security of family, friends, and a regular job for the perilous twilight world of secrets? Why in particular would someone join one intelligence unit and then switch loyalty to an opposing one? The nearest parallel to Gordievsky's secret defection from the KGB may be the case of Kim Philby, the Cambridge-educated Englishman who made the same journey, but in the opposite direction, as an MI6 officer secretly working for the KGB. Like Philby, Gordievsky had undergone a profound ideological conversion, although one man was drawn to communism and the other repelled by it. But Philby's conversion occurred before he had managed to get himself recruited by MI6 in 1940, something he did with the explicit intention of working for the KGB against the capitalist West. Gordievsky, on the other hand, had joined the KGB as a loyal Soviet citizen, never imagining that he might one day betray it. Spies come in many shapes. Some are motivated by ideology, politics, or patriotism. A surprising number act out of avarice, for the financial rewards can be alluring. Others find themselves drawn into espionage by sex, blackmail, arrogance, revenge, disappointment, or the peculiar one-upmanship and comradeship that secrecy confers. Some are principled and brave, some are grasping and cowardly. Pavel Sudoplatov, one of Stalin's spy masters, had this advice for his officers seeking to recruit spies in Western countries. Search for people who are hurt by fate and nature, the ugly, those suffering from an inferiority complex, craving power and influence, but defeated by unfavorable circumstances. In cooperation with us, all of these find a peculiar compensation. The sense of belonging to an influential and powerful organization will give them a feeling of superiority over the handsome and prosperous people around them. For many years, the KGB used the acronym MICE to identify the four mainsprings of spying: money, ideology, coercion, and ego. But there is also romance, the opportunity to live a second hidden life. Some spies are fantasists. Malcolm Muggeridge, former MI6 officer and journalist, wrote, "Intelligence agents, in my experience, are even bigger liars than journalists." Espionage attracts more than its share of the damaged, the lonely, and the plain weird. But all spies crave undetected influence, that secret compensation, the ruthless exercise of private power. A degree of intellectual snobbery is common to most. The secret sense of knowing important things unknown to the person standing next to you at the bus stop. In part, spying is an act of the imagination. The decision to spy on one's own country in the interests of another usually emerges from the collision of an outer world, often rationally conceived, and an inner world of which the spy may be unaware. Philby defined himself as a pure ideological agent, a devoted secret soldier in the communist cause. What he did not admit was that he was also motivated by narcissism, inadequacy, his father's influence, and a compulsion to deceive those around him. Eddie Chapman, the wartime crook and double agent known as Agent Zigzag, considered himself a patriotic hero, which he was, but he was also greedy, opportunistic, and fickle, hence his code name. Oleg Penkovsky, the Russian spy who furnished the West with crucial intelligence during the Cuban Missile Crisis, hoped to prevent nuclear war, but also wanted prostitutes and chocolates brought to his London hotel and demanded to meet the Queen. The outer world that propelled Oleg Gordievsky into the arms of MI6 was political and ideological. He had been profoundly influenced and alienated by the building of the Berlin Wall and the crushing of the Prague Spring. He had read enough Western literature, knew enough of his nation's real history, and had seen enough of democratic freedoms to know that the socialist nirvana, reflected in communist propaganda, was a monstrous lie. He had been brought up in a world of unquestioning obedience to a dogma. Once he had rejected that ideology, he became committed to attacking it with all the fervor of the convert, as deeply and irreversibly opposed to communism as his father, brother, and contemporaries were committed to it. A creature of the system, he understood the ruthless cruelty of the KGB at first hand. Alongside political repression lay cultural Philistinism. With the passionate fury of an aficionado, he hated Izzat's Soviet music and the censorship of the Western classical canon. He demanded a different, better soundtrack to his life. But the inner world that drove Oleg is more obscure. He relished the romance and the adventure. He was undoubtedly rebelling against his father, the obedient, guilt-ridden KGB yes-man. A secretly religious grandmother, a quietly nonconformist mother, and a brother dead in the service of the KGB at the age of 39, may all have exerted a subconscious influence driving him towards mutiny. He had little respect for most of his colleagues, KGB time servers, ignorant, lazy, and on the fiddle, who seemed to win promotion by political maneuvering and toadying. He was cleverer than most of those around him, and he knew it. Gordievsky's marriage had grown cold at that time, and he found it hard to make close friends. He was looking for revenge, for fulfillment, but also for love. All spies need to feel they are loved. One of the most powerful forces in espionage and intelligence work, and one of its central myths, is the emotional bond between spy and spy master, agent and handler. Spies want to feel wanted, part of a secret community, rewarded, trusted, and cherished. Eddie Chapman established close relationships with both his British and his German handlers. Philby was recruited by Arnold Deutsch, a famously charismatic KGB talent scout, whom Philby described as marvelous man. He looked at you as if nothing more important in life than you and talking to you existed at that moment. Exploiting and manipulating that hunger for affection and affirmation is one of the most important skills of an agent runner. There has never been a successful spy who did not feel that the connection with his handler was something more profound than a marriage of convenience, politics, or profit. A true and enduring communion amid the lies and deception.